Niccolo Machiavelli, the sharp mind behind The Prince, warned that the moment you justify yourself, you quietly lower your own status. Real strength doesn't explain, it holds its ground. It's calm, untouchable. Here's the truth no one tells you. When you stop defending yourself, the power shifts. People stop doubting you and start doubting themselves. In this video, I'll show you how Machiavelli's strategy of silence flips the frame and builds unshakable confidence. Stay with me. This insight could be the edge you've been missing. 1. The trap of seeking understanding. What if I told you that every time you try to make people understand you, you're actually handing them your power? Think about the last time someone accused you of something you didn't do. Did you rush to explain? Did you spill out words, hoping they'd see the truth? Most of us do. It feels natural. It feels like the right thing. But here's the twist. The moment you defend yourself, you've already lost control of the frame. I remember a story from a man who shared his pain online. He said, "I spent hours writing messages explaining my side, and still they believed I was the problem. The more I explained, the worse it got. I felt like I was begging them to see me." Maybe you've been there too. Trying so hard to be understood that you ended up feeling invisible and weak. It's like standing in quicksand. The harder you struggle, the faster you sink. Here's the truth Machiavelli would whisper to you. Clarity is not power. Control is power. People think if they just explain enough, repeat themselves enough, they'll finally be respected. But power doesn't live in being understood. Power lives in being untouchable, in holding silence so firm that others begin to question their own words. Why do we defend ourselves? Because we want to be liked. We want to be seen as good, kind, reasonable. But here's the brutal reality. The more you chase their understanding, the less they value you. It's like revealing every card in your hand. When you justify yourself, you're saying, "You have the right to judge me." And once they know they have that power, they use it. Imagine someone calls you arrogant, cold, or manipulative. The moment you respond with, "No, that's not true," "You don't understand," you've just told them you care about their opinion more than your own authority. You've given them control of the narrative. And when they hold the narrative, they hold you. But what if you didn't play that game? What if you simply looked them in the eye and said nothing? What if your silence burned hotter than any defense ever could? That's where true strength begins. Machiavelli knew that mystery is the strongest weapon. People fear what they can't read. When you defend yourself, you erase that mystery. You show your weakness. Here's a secret most people don't realize. Silence makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to fill the gaps. They start to wonder if they were wrong, if they misjudged you. They start second-guessing themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their own insecurity back at them. The next part may be the most important truth you've never heard. The strongest people in history, from kings to leaders, never begged to be understood. They let their actions, their presence, and their silence speak louder than words. In 30 seconds, I'll show you why holding your ground without explanation doesn't just protect you, it flips the power in your favor. So here's your small step for now. Think about one time recently when you defended yourself. How did it make you feel afterward? Did it make you stronger? Or did it leave you feeling drained and small? Hold that memory, because in the next part, we'll uncover why letting go of the need to be understood is the first step to becoming truly untouchable. Once you see the cost of seeking validation, there's a breaking point that changes everything, and that's exactly what we'll explore next, the power of silence. 2. The power of silence. What if I told you that the loudest voice in the room is never the one with the most power? Think about it. When someone attacks you, mocks you, or tries to undermine your worth, your first instinct is to respond, to defend, to explain. But what if the real weapon is not your words, but your silence? Silence is unsettling. It forces people to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning. And the unknown is far more powerful than any explanation you could give. I once read a story from someone who shared their pain online. They said, "Every time I fought back, they just got louder, like they were feeding off my reaction. But the day I stopped responding, something changed. They looked confused, uncomfortable, almost guilty. That silence made them question themselves in a way my words never could." Maybe you've felt this too. Maybe you've tried explaining yourself over and over, only to feel smaller each time. Here's the truth Machiavelli would remind you of. When you explain, you submit. The second you start defending, you confirm their power over you. But when you stay calm, unshaken, you flip the script. People start to fill the silence with their own doubts. They replay their words, wondering if they've gone too far. They start feeling exposed. That is the power of silence. Imagine this: you walk into a meeting and someone throws a jab, maybe about your success, your confidence, or your past mistakes. All eyes are on you, waiting for your reaction. Most people would laugh it off nervously or rush to defend themselves. But not you. You do nothing. No defense, no forced smile, just a steady gaze and complete stillness. In that moment, you become untouchable. People aren't really watching the accusation. They're watching your reaction. And when your reaction is silence, they begin to wonder, did that even land? Does this person know something we don't? Are they stronger than we think? Your silence rewrites the entire social frame. It says, I don't need to explain myself because I stand above this noise. When delivered with presence, silence speaks louder than words. It radiates confidence and control. It tells the room that you are not rattled, that you operate on a level where petty attacks don't even register. This is not about arrogance. It's about power. The kind of power that doesn't have to shout or defend. So, here's your small challenge. The next time someone tries to provoke you, resist the urge to fill the silence. Count to 3. Hold your ground. Let them squirm. Notice how quickly the energy shifts. In 30 seconds, you'll see why silence doesn't just protect you, it makes you the one in control. Now you know why silence can be sharper than any argument. But what happens when silence is used strategically, not just as a defense, but as a weapon that turns the game completely? That's what we'll uncover next in the psychology of power. Did any part of this message speak to you? Type yes in the comments if it did, or no if it didn't. I'd love to hear where you are on your journey. 3. The psychology of power. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Someone throws a subtle insult your way, expecting you to react. Every eye turns to you, waiting for your defense. Most people panic in that silence. But here's the paradox. The less you say, the more power you hold. There's a story of a woman who was accused of being too ambitious by her team. In the past, she would have laughed nervously and explained, I just work hard, I'm not trying to outshine anyone. But one day, she simply replied, interesting, and nothing more. The room went quiet. People didn't know if she was offended, amused, or unfazed. And that uncertainty gave her more authority than any defense could. Machiavelli understood this long ago. He didn't just study politics, he studied human behavior. He knew that real power is not in the words you spill, but in the words you withhold. It's what people believe you might say, but you choose not to. And that choice creates mystery, and mystery creates strength. When someone calls you manipulative, and you respond with calm detachment, if that's how you see it, you're not playing their game. You're flipping the frame. They wanted you to squirm, but instead they are left holding their own accusation, unsure if they've overstepped. Their confidence fades while your presence grows. The next part may be the most important truth you've never heard. Silence, used correctly, doesn't just protect you, it turns the entire situation around. You don't just avoid weakness, you become untouchable. Think about this. How many times have you defended yourself only to feel drained afterward? Did it make you stronger, or did it make you feel like you gave away a piece of your power? For now, just recall the last time you stayed silent instead of reacting. Notice how the other person filled that silence, revealing more than they intended. That's where the real psychology of power lives. Once you master this, you'll realize the game isn't about proving your worth, it's about controlling the frame. And that's exactly what we'll explore next in The Weakness of Words. 4. The weakness of words. They told you that words are your strongest weapon. But what if I told you that every word you throw in self-defense is like a cut on your own armor? People don't always believe what you say. They believe what your silence makes them imagine. And the more you talk, the less powerful you appear. There's a story of a manager accused in a meeting of being too controlling. Instead of staying calm, she went on for 5 minutes explaining why she wasn't. By the time she finished, she looked exactly like what they accused her of: defensive and controlling. The person who made the accusation, they just sat back, watching her dig her own hole. When she finally learned to pause, to let the accusation die in silence, everything shifted. The next time it happened, she said nothing, and the accuser started looking flustered, trying to prove their point, while the room grew skeptical of them, not her. Machiavelli understood this better than most. Words, he believed, are rarely used to clarify truth. They are often used to blur it. When you rush to explain yourself, you step into someone else's frame, and in that frame, you are already losing. Power does not come from having the perfect answer. It comes from refusing to play their game. So what happens when you stop filling the silence? Something unexpected. The attacker begins to overplay their hand. They talk too much. They repeat themselves. They start looking desperate, emotional, unstable. You've said nothing, but suddenly you look stronger, calmer, and in control. The crowd stops caring about who is right. They start paying attention to who is composed. This is the paradox of words. The less you use them, the more each one matters. And the next part may be the most important truth you've never heard. Silence, when combined with presence, doesn't just protect your image, it makes you look untouchable. So let me ask you this. How many times have you walked away from an argument wishing you'd said less, not more? What would happen if you held your tongue the next time someone tried to provoke you? For now, here's one simple challenge. Recall the last conversation where you felt attacked. Instead of answering right away, imagine a pause. 3 seconds, maybe 5, where you just breathe and let their words hang in the air. That's where your strength lives. Once you learn to use silence instead of over-explaining, your entire presence changes. And that's exactly what we'll dive into next. Strategic responses in social and professional settings. If this resonates with you, share how you're feeling right now in the comments. Your words might become the reason someone else realizes they're not alone. 5. Strategic responses in social and professional settings. Have you ever noticed how one simple comment can make an entire room freeze? A single jab, a quiet doubt, a subtle, "Are you sure about that?" And suddenly all eyes are on you, waiting to see if you'll crumble or rise. This is where most people lose power, not because they lack intelligence or skill, but because they give in to the reflex to defend. What if the real move isn't to defend at all, but to redirect the energy back without lifting a finger? Picture this. You're in a business meeting. Someone says, "I'm not sure that idea is really thought through." Everyone turns to see what you'll say. Most people would lean forward, speak faster, try to prove themselves right. But the person who understands power leans back. They take a breath, maybe even smile slightly. And if they do speak, they don't defend. They flip the frame. Interesting. What's your strategy then? In that moment, the pressure shifts. The one who attacked now has to explain themselves. Suddenly they are under the microscope, and you've won without raising your voice. The same pattern shows up in personal relationships. Your partner says, "You don't care about me anymore." The average person panics. They start explaining, overcompensating, saying things like, "Of course I care. I've done this and that for you." But every explanation only validates the emotional frame. It says, "Yes, you have the right to question my feelings." The Machiavellian response is different. You let the words hang in the air. You allow the silence to speak, and then, when you do respond, it's something simple, firm and grounded. That's not how I see it. No defense, no begging, no weakness. Machiavelli would call this control of the emotional tempo. Whoever controls the tempo controls the narrative. When you rush to fill the silence, you're playing their game. But when you remain composed, you set the rhythm, and people naturally fall in line with your pace. You're about to see why the ability to redirect instead of defend is a superpower in every area of life. So stay with me. Think about the last time someone challenged you. Did you give them the reaction they wanted, or did you hold your ground? What if you practiced saying less and watching more? For now, take this small step. The next time someone throws a subtle jab, don't react right away. Count to 3. Let the silence work for you. Then, if you speak, make it a question that puts the ball back in their court. This simple pause will change the way people see you. Once you understand how to redirect energy instead of wasting it on defense, you'll discover a deeper level of control. And that's exactly what we'll explore next in The Art of Absence and Reframing. 6. The Art of Absence and Reframing. What if the greatest show of strength is not fighting back, but disappearing completely? Imagine the confusion when someone hurls an insult, expecting a reaction, and you give them nothing. No reply, no explanation, not even a glance. That silence hits harder than any defense ever could. It's not weakness. It's a calculated move that leaves them staring into a mirror they can't escape. There's a story of a man who was constantly provoked by a colleague who wanted to ruin his reputation. At first, he fought back with long emails, arguments, and proofs of his innocence. But one day, he stopped responding. He didn't block or confront. He simply let the provocations hang unanswered. Within weeks, the colleague's behavior shifted from confidence to desperation. They began sending more messages, gossiping to others, trying anything to get a reaction, and every attempt only made them look unstable, while he stood unshaken. This is where Machiavelli's principle becomes crystal clear. The moment you defend, you surrender your frame. But when you remove emotional validation, the attacker begins to crumble under their own weight. People need a reaction to feel powerful. Take it away and their accusations collapse like a house of cards. The real mastery is when you not only ignore their attacks, but reframe them as signs of their own weakness. Someone calls you arrogant? Strange how confidence makes people uncomfortable. Someone says you're fake? Everyone says that when they stop getting what they want. These are not defenses, they are power flips, turning their own energy against them. It's emotional judo, and you don't even have to break a sweat. You're about to see why this quiet strength makes you untouchable, so stay with me. Think about it. How many times have you wasted energy trying to prove you're good when your silence could have made you look unshakable? For now, try this. The next time someone attacks you with words, don't reply immediately. Step back. Let their words hang in the air. Feel how the power shifts when you don't play their game. If this video helped you see your life from a new perspective, share it with someone you care about. It could be the gentle reminder they need today to feel a little lighter. Most people believe that power is about proving themselves, proving they are right proving they are not what others say they are, proving they are better than the image painted of them. But as Machiavelli would remind us, the moment you start proving anything, you have already validated someone else's judgment. By seeking approval, you unknowingly hand over control. True power begins the moment you stop defending and start defining. It's when your silence, your stillness, and your composure speak louder than any explanation could. Think about every time someone tried to provoke you, waiting for you to explain or justify yourself. Did your response make you stronger, or did it simply confirm their words had power over you? Machiavelli's lesson is clear. When you stay calm and unshaken, the energy shifts. Those who tried to attack you become the ones under scrutiny, while you remain untouchable. Silence isn't the absence of power, it's the presence of authority. It tells the world that you operate on a different level, one where petty accusations can't reach. Now imagine yourself living this way, walking into a room and feeling no need to prove anything. You no longer waste energy correcting lies or explaining your intentions. You simply exist with such clarity and confidence that people start to question their own assumptions about you. That is the transformation Machiavelli envisioned, a shift from constantly defending to effortlessly commanding respect. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's built, stone by stone, with every choice to stay composed, every time you choose silence over reaction, every moment you decide not to play a game you cannot win. And here's the beauty of it. Once you stop defending, people start defending you. They see your calmness, your lack of fear, and they step in, often without you asking. The crowd becomes your shield, not because you begged for their support, but because your presence demanded it. This is the quiet evolution of power, when your mere stillness sets the tone and the room shifts around you. So, where do you go from here? Start small. The next time someone throws a jab, don't rush to correct it. Let it hang in the air. Observe how people react when you don't give them what they expect. Over time, you'll see how powerful this simple shift can be. If you want to master this art, make a commitment to practice silence as a strategy, not as a sign of weakness, but as a declaration of strength. If this message resonates with you, follow this channel for more insights that will help you grow stronger, sharper, and harder to shake. Every week we explore lessons that will help you build not just confidence, but an unshakable presence that commands respect wherever you go. In the next video, we'll go even deeper into how to develop an aura so powerful that accusations never even land. How to make your presence speak before you say a single word. Stay with me, because this journey is only just beginning.